Good evening and welcome to Biz in Focus. I'm Zeenat Musafir. Joining us this evening is Professor Suranga Silva, Director of Economic Research and Industry Policy Analysis and Senior Lecturer at the Department of Economics at the University of Colombo. Good evening, Professor.
Yes.
Professor, so you are also the coordinator of tourism studies at the Department of Economics at the University of Colombo.
Yes.
Now, when it comes to ensuring educational standards in the local arena are on par with international standards, what is the role the Department of Economics plays in making sure that these standards comply?
Yeah, basically the Department of Economics is one of the best department when you look at the qualification of the professors and the program we are running. The Department of Economics is having a different type of program. Except the undergraduate program, we have the masters, PhDs, diplomas, executive diplomas, and we are actually making a very good interaction between the policymakers and the industry.
So, as an expert in the field, what is the importance of tourism education?
Yeah, tourism industry has become more competitive industry right now. It is more because it has become more competitive. Why? Because it needs more creativeness. The tourism industry is asking more innovative product, creative product, because tourism industry is ultimately ending with the experience. If we cannot provide the right experience to the customer, the industry will not be very attractive. Therefore, we believe that always creativeness and innovativeness is coming through the excellence and the professionalism. So, for that fun, education is very important. So, when you look at the successfulness and sustainability of Sri Lanka tourism, there are some factors are very critical factors. First thing is creative, innovative policy making. At the same time, the innovative management, efficient marketing, the competent human resources and responsible leadership. When you look at all these things, education can make a huge role to make Sri Lanka tourism more sustainable and successful industry.
So, speaking of tourism education in Sri Lanka, what are the main challenges you see as an expert in ensuring that tourism education is widespread across the island?
Now, basically tourism industry, when you look at the tourism education, it is very industry interactive and application oriented education. Why? Because when you look at the total operation of Sri Lanka tourism or any type of tourism, this knowledge has to be applied for the industry. We need some philosophers, we need some educated researchers, but all the research finding, all the education must be applicable. If we look at this one, when we want to develop certain educational program, we have to see whether this is very highly interactive with the industry or it is actually the application with the industry. So, that is the most important challenge we are facing right now. When you look at that caliber, we have to have a very good connection with the industry. The universities can run their basic program and the intellectual program and the very conceptualized theoretical program, but it has to be combined with the industry. Otherwise, the graduate or the diploma holders, those who are finishing their degree from the universities, there will be a problem with the requirement for the industry and the skill of the students we are actually generating from our education. Therefore, the biggest challenge we are facing right now, how we are going to combine and interact and develop the skill and knowledge among our students, which should be applied for the industry, for the betterment, for the development of the industry.
Professor, now the Tourism Study Program Department of Economics of the University of Colombo will hold its annual Tourism Leaders Summit and International Tourism Research Conference on the 28th of September at the BMICH to mark World Tourism Day. Now, would you like to speak a few words on that?
Yeah, actually, we were thinking that how we, the University of Colombo, can combine with the industry, which must be appreciated by the industry as a service. So, we have realized that most important thing that we have to find out the global agenda to make Sri Lanka tourism more attractive. We started this one 2014. Now this is actually we came to the 5th anniversary of our event. This year we thought that we have to have a 3 forum under the Tourism Leaders Summit. One is we call that diplomatic and international forum. Diplomatic and international forums actually focus on the SDG goals and how Sri Lanka can actually reach in that goals in future. So this year we actually plan to hold our Tourism Leaders Summit under 3 concept, 3 panel discussion. One is the diplomatic and international forum. That particular forum we are expecting to talk about journey to 2030 and sustainable tourism development goals. Second panel we actually focusing on the CU and industry forum. We are expecting under that forum, okay, what type of how we are going to face the challenges for Sri Lanka tourism development by making the high value chain in the global tourism. Third one, we would like to discuss about the interministerial discussions, that is we call interministerial panel discussion. So then at that discussion we are expecting to see how we can synergize all the endeavors, different ministries, different government officers and different stakeholders and associations are working together for Sri Lanka tourism development. We would like to see how we can synergize and integrate all the effort for making Sri Lanka tourism more better. So we all are doing under the concept of 2019 global tourism theme, that is tourism and job, a better future for all.
Professor, you spoke of sustainable tourism, and sustainable tourism is on the rise. The travel and tourism industry accounts for 10.4% of global GDP and is currently responsible for around 8% of global carbon emissions, largely as a result of accommodation. Now, the tourism industry in Sri Lanka has developed and is in the process of developing further. But do you think this development supports this growth in sustainable tourism?
Yeah, we have to do it because that is our challenging task right now, because if we are divert from the sustainable development goals or sustainable tourism, we are actually making our industry less attractive. So therefore the government has taken certain initiatives. Recently they have introduced the national sustainable certification schemes. I was involved in that one, but it's not enough actually. We have to make that concept, if you really want to make Sri Lanka tourism sustainable, there should be 2 things I believe we have to do at very first. One thing is awareness of the people. Why sustainable tourism is very important, because some people might be thinking that that is extra cost for them. Actually in the long run that is the more benefit they are being given through the attraction of the customers, especially tourists. Second thing is we have to empower our employees and the employers even. Now example, Costa Rica is getting large number of tourists right now because they have been recognized as a very sustainable model. Even Nepal, right? So Bhutan, then we have seen that some destinations, they actually realize the value of this one. They are pushing their industry towards sustainable development. So I believe that this conference and all the effort what we are doing as a university, making more awareness among our industry stakeholders, why this is important, because when you look at sustainable tourism development, example, if you go to Yala safari, that is the worst safari in the world right now. I have been to India, they have a crowd management system unbelievable. When I go to Tirupati also, that is the religious place, cleanness and how they manage the places are unbelievable. Even if you go to Singapore, how they are running their night safari, they are doing very well. But I think the biggest challenge we are facing, how we are going to make crowd management, how we are making to create the discipline. Discipline is a very important. No country can be developed without having discipline. No industry can be developed without having discipline. All industry stakeholders must be convinced, having good discipline, they will get more money.
Professor, also now before we wrap this interview, my last question to you. As at the 31st of August 2019, 1,267,000 tourists had visited Sri Lanka for the year. This is a drop of 19.9% when compared with the figures for the corresponding period last year. So, since April, our tourist arrivals have increased, they have improved.
There is a significant increase, but it is, we can't say, we have economics term, the potential growth and actual growth.
Yes.
But actual growth could be much more lower than the potential growth. There is a growth, we can be happy by studying we are growing, but actual growth is not the right growth.
Yes.
We have a potential growth.
So
when you look at the potential growth, it's a tip of the iceberg, what we are getting right now.
So much of untapped potential.
Yes. That is why we are being told actually under the tourism strategy plan, the story of untapped potential. But we have a habit to say always, okay, we have a potential, but unfortunately we are keeping the potential as a potential without using it. That's the problem.
So, Professor, coming back to the question, now the country has not fully recovered in terms of tourist arrivals and tourist income. How long do you think it will take for the country to bounce back?
So far, I think there is some improvement actually.
Yes.
As predicted, some people it will take 1, 2, 3 years, but I think next tourism season we will be recovered back, provided that we have the right policy directions and the policy implementations. Basically, tourism can grow without any planning. That is, we call the unplanned tourism development. But in future there will be disaster. But we know that Sri Lanka has been recognized as one of the best destinations in the world. It is the best destination for this year according to Lonely Planet and other ranking. Having all these things, we can grow. But as I told you that the growth has two characters. One is the actual growth and one is the potential growth. I believe that tourism will grow definitely next year, but we have to see whether we have reached the potential growth.
Thank you, Professor. Thank you. And that was Professor Suranga Silva, Director of Economic Research and Industry Policy Analysis and Senior Lecturer at the Department of Economics at the University of Colombo. Thank you, Professor, for joining us this evening. And do stay tuned for more of the latest business updates after these commercials.
Thank you very much.
South Asia's tallest tower, measuring 350 meters, was declared open yesterday.
The opening ceremony of the Lotus Tower was graced by the Chinese ambassador to Sri Lanka, Speaker Karujai Surya, the commander of the Army and Navy, as well as other local and international dignitaries.
Put your hands together, ladies and gentlemen, as the Colombo Lotus Tower is now officially open.
A commemorative stamp was issued to mark the official opening of the Lotus Tower. An exchange of souvenirs between the President and the Chinese ambassador to Sri Lanka took place thereafter. Standing at a height of 356.3 meters, the Lotus Tower was constructed at a cost of $104.5 million. Of this, $67 million was a loan obtained from the Exim Bank in China, while the rest of the cost was borne by the Telecommunication Regulatory Commission. The tower includes a rotating restaurant, a shopping mall, and a theatre for cultural shows. The tower also consists of 6 super luxury bedrooms. The area that takes the shape of the lotus flower consists of 8 floors, and the 6th and 7th floors are dedicated for the radio and television digital transmission activities.
The largest ever international trade union event to be held in Sri Lanka, the Maritime Roundtable Conference, organized by the International Transport Workers Federation, began in Colombo yesterday.
Over 500 trade union leaders will be attending the 3-day conference from Africa, the Arab world, Asia Pacific, Europe, and from Latin and North America.
The International Transport Workers Federation is rated as the world's leading transport authority. You stand to improve working lives, covering trade unions from 147 countries to secure rights, equality, justice. Now Sri Lanka is receiving worldwide attention due to its strategic location. Indian Ocean has become a place of great interest to all the superpowers since its geographical location and also a maritime location. As much as tourism, we have given the highest priority for the development of the maritime industry in Sri Lanka.
So we're very proud to be sharing this venue here in Sri Lanka with the world's next generation of trade union leaders, men and women from all over the world, that know Sri Lanka is important in the world economy, that know Sri Lanka is leading the way within the region, and know Sri Lanka is a country that relies on transport, aviation, road, rail, and now increasingly shipping and dock workers. So it's very important that Sri Lanka also knows the International Transport Workers Federation is there for them, particularly at this time following the terrorist attack, that we can demonstrate our solidarity and our support for the Sri Lankan working men and women.
The Sri Lanka Investment and Business Conclave 2019, organised by the Ceylon Chamber of Commerce, was held for the fourth consecutive time yesterday.
The event was held under the theme Explore, Network, Capitalize. Many distinguished guests from local businesses and over 80 delegates from 22 countries attended the conclave. Minister Sujiva Senasinghe and Malik Samaravikrama also graced the occasion.
Today we inaugurate the fourth edition of the Investment and Business Conclave. In line with the focus of the National Export Strategy in particular, the theme of this year's conclave is Explore, Network and Capitalize. The conclave aims to provide a platform for inward investment promotion, alongside the catalyzing of trade and investment relationships between Sri Lankan enterprises and their overseas counterparts. This year we are delighted to see an elevated level of interest in the spheres of agriculture, power and energy, infrastructure development, knowledge services and tourism, among others. These sectors, which are all key drivers of Sri Lanka's economy. The trade and investment nexus is a key component of Sri Lanka's economic trajectory and a principal agenda of the Ceylon Chamber of Commerce.
Sri Lanka has its fair share of challenges and political issues, just like any other democracy and any emerging market. But two things remain certain. One is the ample business opportunities, and two is a commitment of our government to welcome foreign investors and help them succeed here. At the heart of Sri Lanka opportunity is that a foreign business like yours locating in Sri Lanka would be able to access a market of nearly 3.5 billion people on preferential terms. We are proud of the investment frameworks we have in our country and can assure you that you will be treated fairly. In Sri Lanka, you will discover a stable macroeconomic climate, a fantastic geographic location, a pleasant living environment, business partners that value good business practices, and a highly trainable workforce, and take advantage of this emerging gateway to South Asia, Europe, and Africa.
The event concluded with a panel discussion on various topics related to the theme.
Sri Lanka's China-managed Hambantota port has inked a deal with Thailand's Ranong port with a view to developing shipping routes in the region. The company said a joint working group will be established to develop a coastal shipping in the Bay of Bengal between the two ports.
Hambantota International Port says it will support Thailand's policy of boosting trade with India and Sri Lanka under the Bay of Bengal initiative for multi-sectoral technical and economic cooperation. Thailand is currently following a policy to boost trade with India, Bangladesh and Sri Lanka under the framework of BIMSTEC. Hambantota is already trans-shipping Indian cars to Africa and elsewhere, and Thailand is also a key auto manufacturing hub. HIPG says there is also potential in an industrial zone by the site of the Hambantota port. China has also revived the idea of building a canal across Thailand which will reduce shipping times to China and Japan and help bypass a choke point of the Malacca Straits.
And that's a wrap of Biz in Focus. Thank you for watching. Good night.